Alright everyone, welcome back to another video, and today what I have for everyone is a little bit of a different video, a different style of review that I haven't done in quite some time. So today what I have for everyone is another speaker review. In particular, what I'm reviewing for everyone here today is the Walmart on-brand Party mid-size Bluetooth speaker. All right, so I'm gonna go over all the aspects of this Bluetooth speaker here today, and hopefully by the end of the video you guys and gals know if this speaker is worth picking up. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, starting off here, talking about the overall build quality and design, this speaker right here is built primarily out of plastic and grippy rubber texturized materials, but it does have high quality audio plugins in the rear. I'm going to throw a B-roll to show y'all all the ports and plugins on the speaker so y'all can see it for yourself. But in terms of the overall build quality, it's built primarily out of the different combinations of ruggedized and texturized plastics, okay? But the overall build quality on this speaker, in my opinion, is top-notch. Top-notch indeed, and it can actually be used in two different orientations. So you have this portrait-style orientation here, up and down, okay? And then you also have a landscape-style orientation because it does have grippy rubber feet on the bottom, so you can put it in your landscape or right to left orientation as well. But for the purposes of recording this video, I have it set up in the portrait mode orientation. Okay, but you can use it in either landscape or portrait mode orientations depending on how you want to set it up. And it does have built-in multicolored LEDs. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a rundown of the different LED modes and lighting throughout the video. All right, but as I said, in terms of the overall build quality and design on this one, it is top notch in my overall opinion, and I think Walmart's on brand did a great job with this one. And this is the mid-range. They actually have a bigger one, and then they have two other smaller ones. Okay, now moving on, let's talk about the core features in this Bluetooth speaker right here. Now, core feature number one is it is indeed waterproof, okay? And they didn't specify the waterproof level, but looking through the user manuals and the packaging, it did say it was waterproof, but they didn't specify to what level or what depth. But I did have the opportunity to use this speaker for a party, and that party was out by the pool. And it did start raining, but the pool deck is covered, so this did get a little wet, and it still works and performs perfectly fine. Didn't get any type of water damage. So at the very least, in my opinion, this is splash resistant, okay? But honestly, you shouldn't have any issues if you want to take this to like the beach, if you want to use it in like a pool party setting like I did. So for the particular party that we had, there was like 75 to 100 people, and it was out by the pool, and this speaker filled the whole area. This one speaker served the music for the whole party. I'm going to give y'all a sound test a little bit later on in the video. But this, in terms of sound, it is top-notch in my opinion. But getting back on task, talking about the core features, it is waterproof, but they did not specify to what level. It does have built-in Bluetooth, okay? Again, they did not specify to what level, okay? But I can tell y'all the Bluetooth on this one is top-notch, okay? It does have the built-in LEDs with 7 different modes, okay? It also has a built-in radio tuner, so you can use it to pick up AM, FM radios, okay? And there's a mode switch on the side here next to the Bluetooth mode button here that lets you switch between Bluetooth mode aux mode, and AM FM radio mode. Okay, throwing back up the B-roll in terms of the ports. This does give you a mic in port. It does give you a guitar in port. You do have a USB-A in port and out port for charging your devices. So you can hook this up to like a DJ interface or an audio interface, or use it like a karaoke machine by hooking up a microphone or a guitar or things of that nature. You can do that. And then you do have an aux jack in the back if you want to hardwire a particular device for the best possible audio. Okay, and then it does charge via AC input to a regular wall plug. I'll throw up B-roll of that so y'all can see what the charging plug looks like. And you can use it to charge via output other devices at 5 volts, 2 amps. Okay, so you can actually do a lot with this speaker here. So in terms of core features, those are all the core features that you have with this speaker. And also you can use it via daisy chain. So you can pick up any other Walmart on brand speaker and daisy chain the two speakers together to give you that true stereo experience. Alright, so that goes over the core features. Alright, now moving on, let's talk about the overall sound quality, the volume, and the bass on this. Now, I'm going to give y'all an audio test after we go through the pairing steps, but let's just run down my opinions on the sound quality, volume, and the bass on this. But y'all will get an audio test after I walk y'all through how to pair it up to your devices. Alright? Now, in terms of the overall sound quality, I have to say this is really good. Top notch even. The audio was very crisp and clear throughout, with no distortion on the low or the high ends of the volume spectrum, at least to my ears. And I tested this with a wide variety of things. Now, it does have a built-in microphone, so you can use it to make and take and receive phone calls, and I didn't have any issues there. But talking about the overall sound quality, I tested it with reggae music. Y'all know my family is Jamaican and Caribbean, so y'all know we had a party. You know, we had the reggae music jumping. I'm a big fan of hip-hop, R&B, pop, country, a little bit of classical, depending on what. And then I do have my anime genres that I like, K-pop, so on and so forth. I honestly just like a bunch of different styles of music. Pretty much whatever I'm feeling for a particular day is what I listen to. But primarily, I listen to a lot of reggae, a lot of hip-hop, a lot of R&B, a lot of stuff from the 90s. Y'all know I'm a 90s baby out here, so we listen to a lot of stuff from the 90s. But in terms of the overall sound quality, I'd have to say it's top-notch. Again, no distortion on the low or the high ends of the volume spectrum. In terms of the overall volume, the volume on this is top-notch as well. As I said earlier, I used this for a pool party, and this one speaker by itself, okay, filled up the whole pool area. You can even hear it in my house, okay? So with the pool doors closed, with the porch doors closed, and in the house, you can still hear the speaker. So the overall volume on this speaker is top-notch. Top-notch indeed. Now, talking about the overall bass on this speaker, y'all knew we was going to talk about the bass. Self-proclaimed bass head over here. Not professional, but self-proclaimed. Alright? The bass on this bad boy is really, really good. And it does have a bass boost button right here. And it does boost the bass a little bit. There's a bass boost button right here. But it's very subtle. But the overall bass on this speaker, in my opinion, is really good. It does give the music overall a little bit of warmth, but it is lacking a little bit of extra punch. That's why I would have to say the bass is not top-notch, but it is really good. Okay? Really good indeed. So talking about the overall sound quality, the volume, and the bass on the whole, I have to say Walmart and their on-brand party speaker here did a really good job. Alright, moving on, let's talk about the overall mic quality of the mics that are built into this speaker. Now, I tested it with Android, okay, and I also tested it with iOS, right? And regardless of whatever device I used, the mic quality on here was really good. I took a bunch of phone calls. You know, sometimes you just need to take a phone call. And I dictated a bunch of text messages and emails. It worked no problem. So the mic on this speaker is actually really good. Not quite top notch, because there were some instances where it didn't quite catch everything that I said, and I had to go back in and make some corrections. But for the most part, it did a really good job. And on phone calls, it didn't have any issues. Okay, so the overall mic quality on this one, again, is really good. Good job, Walmart, and you're on brand. All right, now moving on, let's go over the steps on how you would pair this speaker to your device. Now, as I said, it does support Bluetooth, but I don't know which version. But if you want to do a physical connection, it does have an aux jack, right? And pretty much you cycle through your modes with this button right here, okay? So this is your power button. And by default, when you power it on, it goes directly into lighting mode 1 and directly into Bluetooth mode. You could turn off Bluetooth mode here, and then you cycle through your modes here, okay? And then this is your overall master volume. Now the master volume goes all the way up to 30. And for my testing purposes, I maxed it out at 30 and then just controlled the volume with whatever device I had connected. And then here we have a bass boost button, and then we have our lighting to cycle through our lights. And then we have the brightness for our lights is this button right here. I'll have a close-up shot of this so y'all can see it better thrown up in post. And then we also have a pause play button. We have a reverse track and a next track button here as well, so you can control your connected devices via the speaker itself or via the connected device. But by default, when you power it on, you're going to get some audible prompts, and it's going to go directly into pairing mode. And let me demonstrate that now, and then I'm going to give y'all a sound sample test for y'all to check out, and then we're going to move on. So first up, let's demonstrate using iOS, okay? Now, prerequisites, I did turn on the Bluetooth on this already, okay? So let me just wake up the device. Let me use my face unlock. Okay, and you can see this is my iPhone 11 right here. Okay, and like I told you before, my Bluetooth is already on. So now I'm just going to go into the Bluetooth settings. Okay, and we're going to go into the Bluetooth settings here. Now, if you don't know how to do that, from your home screen, you're just going to swipe down on the top right to bring up your action center. You're going to turn on the Bluetooth by pressing this button here. Give it a second. It's going to turn the Bluetooth on. Then you want to press and hold to take you into the Bluetooth subsettings. Press and hold again. This is going to bring you into the Bluetooth quick settings on your iOS device. And then you're going to click down here where it says go to Bluetooth settings. This is going to take you to the main Bluetooth settings on your device. So now your iOS device is ready to connect a Bluetooth device. All right, so now let's just press and hold the button for 1 second to turn the speaker on. We're going to get our audible prompts, and then we're going to move on with the pairing process. Here we go. Okay.
Power on.
Okay.
Bluetooth pairing.
Okay, and now it's in pairing mode. And you can see on the speaker itself, you get the Bluetooth flashing icon, and then you can see the light on the rear is flashing, indicating that it's in pairing mode. And then you can see we do have it set to mode 1 by default when it comes on. Now, back on your iOS device, you're going to see this. So it's going to say on dot party speaker L. And all we have to do is tap on it, and that's going to begin the pairing process.
Connected.
And you can see we got our audible prompt, and now the Bluetooth is connected. Now, how I used it was here on the speaker. I just set it to 30. So you can see it's already maxed out at 30. You can see it right there. Let me get y'all a close up. So you can see it's set to 30. And then at that point, I just physically controlled everything else with my device. Okay? And that's how I used it. So the speaker itself was always set to max volume, and then I controlled it via the volume on the connected device. All right? And then my testing, when we talk about the battery life, which we'll get to, I tested it at 30% volume and 50% volume. So just keep that in mind, okay? So that is how you would connect up an iOS device, okay? So now let's disconnect our iOS device, and let me show you how to connect it up on Android. So let's just turn off the Bluetooth here.
Bluetooth pairing.
Okay? And as soon as you disconnect whatever device you have connected, it will automatically go back into pairing mode. Now, as I said, if you want to cycle through the modes here, let me show you this. You just press this button right here, and that will cycle through your modes. So that's AM, FM radio. That's what that mode was. And then this is aux mode. So if you want to hardwire, you click it. This will put you in aux mode. That other mode is AM, FM radio mode. And then now, press it again, goes back to Bluetooth. Okay? So that's how you cycle through the modes of whatever you have connected. All right? And now, let me show you how to pair it up to an Android device. So, I got my Google Pixel 6a right here. And let's turn on Bluetooth. Now my Bluetooth is already on because I have it connected up to my Pixel Buds. So you can see it's already connected to a Bluetooth device. But if you're doing Android, you just swipe down on your notification shade twice. Let me show you this. So on your home screen, you swipe down. This brings up your quick toggles. You tap on the Bluetooth once, give it a second to turn on, then you want to press and hold to go into the Bluetooth subsetting menu, right? Then from here, you're going to tap on pair a new device, all right? And then here, you can see it scanning for nearby Bluetooth devices, and then you can see it already showed up on dot party speaker L. So we're just going to tap on that, okay? Confirm the pairing process right here. So we're going to hit pair. And there you go.
Connected.
Now it's connected via Bluetooth on your Android device. Okay? Now, one thing that I found that was funny was typically on Android, when you connect a Bluetooth device, you get the battery percentage in the subsettings here. Okay? But you also would get the battery percentage in the quick toggles here. All right, but you don't get that with this speaker. So the only way that you know the actual battery percentage, let me show you this, is via this battery indicator on the front of the, or top of the speaker, depending on the orientation that you have it at. This is the only way you know the battery percentage of the speaker itself. Okay? Okay. All right, so that's how you would connect up the on-brand party speaker, the mid-range, to your devices, whether it be Android or iOS, right? And again, you can hardwire it using the aux cable. You can also connect it up to laptops, tablets, desktops, what have you. As long as they have an aux jack or a 3.5mm headphone jack or a Bluetooth connection, it will work. And I've actually connected it up to my tablet. I've connected it up to my mini PC and various other devices. And it works no problem. Now, I just want to give y'all a sound sample. Then I'm going to walk y'all through the different mode lights on the device. Actually, I can probably do that right now and then give y'all a sound sample. So by default, when you power it on, it comes on in pairing mode, and it automatically goes into lighting mode 1, right? But it has 7 different lighting modes with different lighting effects, right? So again, you cycle through your lighting modes and effects with this button right here. This is the brightness for your lights right here. Okay. So that controls the brightness for the lights. But let's go through the 7 different modes. So it's already on mode 1. So go to mode 2 here. It's like a pulsating lighting effect, and it pulsates through the colors. Okay, y'all can see that there. Let's go to mode 3. Different pulsating effect. Now, modes 4 and 5 actually play music along with whatever you have playing. Okay. So that's mode, that was mode 2. This is mode 3. Here's mode 4. Here's mode 5. Here's mode 6. Okay. And then mode 7 turns off all the lights. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'll reiterate this later, to get the most battery out of this, you really want to run it in lighting mode 7. So you're not really running the lights. But if you want to show off and you're at a party and you want to do the different lighting mode effects, I personally like lighting mode 5, and I personally like lighting mode 3. But for the majority of my testing, which was about 2.5 weeks, I tested it in lighting mode 7, so all the lights off. Okay? But that goes through all the lighting effects. Now, let me pull up some music here. I'm going to pull up some music from a good friend of mine, your boy Two Phones, and we're going to give y'all a audio sample before we carry on with the review. So, let me just show y'all right now. I really don't want to wake my granddad up, but it's set to 100% volume right now. I'm actually going to put this down to 50% because, you know, I don't want to wake my granddad up. And it's actually going to get quite loud. So right there, I put it on 50%. The speaker itself is maxed out, and it has a max volume of 30%. But let me pull up some music here. Okay. Again, shout out to my good friend, your boy Two Phones, for letting me feature his music in my videos. So let me go to one of his newer tracks that I really like. And I'll have links to everything that I talk about in the video down below in the video description. So if you guys and gals like what you're hearing, I'll have links to his Sound Nation as well as his YouTube channel. Go ahead and go over to both platforms and give him a follow. And let him know your boy E Drummond sent y'all over there. Alright? But let's pull this up. And let me push pause real quick. Alright? So this is 50% volume. Now I'm not gonna max out the volume because I have other family members in the house and you always want to be respectful, but this is 50% volume. And again, I tested the speaker in terms of battery life at 30% and 50%. So this gives you an idea of one of the areas where I tested it at. But let's go ahead and push play. Okay, so that was halfway through the track. That was with bass boost off. So now let's go ahead and turn bass boost on. So now you see bass boosted. All right, and let me let y'all hear the difference here. Here we go. Let me push play on the music again. Okay. Real quick audio test. Real quick, just letting y'all see my different lighting mode, my favorite different lighting modes. So you can see I kind of let it sit for a minute on lighting mode 3. That's one of my favorites. And I kind of let it sit for a minute on lighting mode 5. That was also one of my favorites. And there, I don't know how well my microphones picked it up, but maybe you can hear the differences between bass boost mode on versus bass boost mode off. And like I said, in terms of the bass, when you turn on bass boosted mode, it does for the most part make the music sound a little bit warmer, and it does add a little bit of punch, but it is just missing a little bit more punch in my opinion. But overall, like I said, the sound quality, the volume, and the bass on this is really good. Really good indeed. So that goes over the pairing steps. That goes over the different lighting modes. That goes over the different modes for the speaker in general. And that also gives y'all a overall sound sample, okay, via Bluetooth, all right? And that also goes over how you would connect your iOS devices or your Android device, okay? So let me disconnect this now.
Bluetooth pairing.
Okay. And let's carry on with the rest of the video. Now, it does have an auto power off feature for the speaker itself. So if you're listening to something or you're doing something and you pause what you're listening to or watching and you're gone for like, let's say 2 to 5 minutes, it will auto power off to save battery. And it does the same thing when there's nothing connected. So it will auto power off to save battery as well. Okay, so there is that. But I just wanted to point that out here. Now let's go ahead and continue on with the rest of the video. All right, so we went over the pairing steps. We went over the microphone quality. Up next, let's talk about the overall Bluetooth range and strength. Now again, as I said earlier, I don't really know the overall Bluetooth version on this, but in terms of the Bluetooth range and strength, I did not have any issues, right? So in this particular instance, when I tested out the range and the strength, I left the speaker, right, in the middle of my pool area, and I just proceeded to walk around the rest of the house. And I would have to say, when I got to the TV room, that's when I started to have some connection issues, right? So walking onto my back porch, no problem. Walking from the back porch to one of the bathrooms or the kitchen, no problem. But going from the kitchen to the TV room, then I started to have some disconnect issues. And for reference, from the pool area to the TV room is about, I want to say 75 to 100 feet. So that should give you an idea right there. Okay? But in terms of the overall Bluetooth performance and the range, I didn't have any issues. As long as I was within that 75 to 100 foot range, didn't have any issues. Okay? No issues whatsoever. But once I got outside that range, then I did have some connection issues. But that can be easily rectified using the aux input port on the back of the speaker. So you always get a better connection when you hardwire. Okay? But that goes over the Bluetooth range and the strength. Okay? Up next now, let's talk about the overall durability. Now, in all honesty, in my 2.5 weeks with the speaker, I haven't really dropped it. I haven't really been too rough on it. So, in terms of durability, I can't really talk too much about the speaker in the durability aspects. Like I said, I used it for a pool party and it did get a little wet, but it still works perfectly fine. All right, so no issues there. And it is a big, beefy speaker, so I'm sure you can rough it up a little bit and it should be okay. Right? But it does have a nice little handle, right, that does extend. So, and there are wheels on it, so you can roll it around, right? So you can roll it around like a piece of carry-on luggage if you would like. And it also has another handle that you can pick it up from right here. So there are 2 handles on it, okay? And all of your ports are back here. I already showed y'all the B-roll for this, but I just wanted to show y'all the handle there. Spin it back around. And it is quite heavy and beefy. So in terms of durability, honestly, guys and gals, you shouldn't have any issues with this one. All right? So I'm going to say the durability on this speaker is top notch. But at least in my testing, I wasn't really too rough on it in the 2.5 weeks that I've been using it thoroughly. I wasn't really too rough on it. Okay? But it does look and feel like it's built solidly and it could take a licking and keep on kicking. So in terms of the durability on this party speaker from Walmart, on Walmart's on brand, I would have to say it's top notch. Now, moving on here, let's talk about probably the most important aspect of this speaker. Let's talk about the overall battery life and let's talk about the overall charge times. Now, talking about the battery life first, as I said, I've been using it heavily for the past 2.5 weeks, and I've been testing it in lighting mode 7, so all the lights off, and I've been testing it at 30% volume and 50% volume. And here's what I found. So at 50% volume, okay, it gets me about 12 hours of straight usage. Whether that be music, whether that be movies, whether that be audiobooks, I get about 12 hours of straight usage. Keep in mind, that's what bass boost mode turned off. Okay? With bass boost mode turned on, you're probably going to get about 2 hours less. Okay? And that's at 50% volume. Now, at 30% volume, I'm getting about 18 hours. All right? So, really good battery life overall, in my opinion. So, I'm averaging between 12 and 18 hours of battery life, depending on the volume and the lighting mode that I keep it at. Okay? All right. Now, talking about the charging, right? In terms of charging, I found that this speaker right here takes about just over 2 hours and 5 minutes to reach a full charge. Okay, I took a screenshot of the last charging test that I took, but I actually charged it multiple times. But the last screenshot that I saved, let me show y'all here. Oops, hold up. The last screenshot that I saved, yeah, it was just over 2 hours and 5 minutes. So right there, about 2 hours and 5 minutes and 42 seconds. All right. And that was from completely dead to full. All right. And when the battery is low, you'll get 2 to 3 low battery notifications. It will let you know Bluetooth battery low, and it will actually reduce the audio on the volume of whatever you have connected when the battery is low. So if you're listening to something and you realize that, oh, it's not as loud as what you set it to, then most likely the battery is low. All right. And you'll get 2 to 3 low battery notifications before it says powered off. Right. And at that point, let's jump over into the charging times now. Now, from 0 to 50%, it took about 38 minutes. Again, I've timed it various times. So from 0 to 50% took about 30 minutes. Okay? From 0 to 75%, it took about an hour and just over 38 minutes. Okay? And then from 0 to 100%, it took just over 2 hours. Again, just over 2 hours and 5 minutes. Okay? So that goes over the charge times, and that goes over the battery life. And in my opinion, the battery life on this Bluetooth speaker is top notch. And y'all know why I'm going to say that? Because it easily gets me beyond 10 hours plus of usage. All right? Keep in mind, these are just my particular stats with my particular heavy usage style. Your guys and gals' usage may vary because we all use our devices and products differently. So y'all take my estimates and things with a grain of salt, because I know you guys and gals are not going to use the particular product if you decide to pick it up the way that I do, because we all use our devices and products differently. But at least for me, 12 to 18 hours of straight continuous usage, regardless of whatever I want to do and whatever I want to connect it up to, is top-notch overall great battery life in my opinion. And yes, the charge times could be a little faster, but for what it is, that is really good overall charge times in my opinion. Okay? So that goes over the charge times, and that goes over the overall battery life. Okay? Now, before we get into the final part of this video, where I give y'all the pricing and go over my overall final thoughts and make a recommendation, let me briefly summarize the positives and the negatives of this Bluetooth speaker. So if you don't watch any other aspect of this review, as long as you watch this next segment or next category, you should get a really good overall general idea about how I feel about this speaker. So let's summarize it right now. So in terms of the positives, the overall build quality is top notch. Okay. The overall port selection on here is top notch. I do like the fact that you can charge a device from it because it does have a built-in speaker. I also like the fact, built-in speaker, it does have a built-in battery bank in it. I also like the fact that you can hardwire a device to it, okay, to get the best possible overall audio. I also like the fact that it does have a built-in AM/FM radio, okay, and it does have a built-in microphone so you can make and receive phone calls. I like all that stuff. So the overall build quality and design is top-notch. The core feature set that ON decided to put in here is top-notch. The overall sound quality, volume, and the bass on this is really good. Okay. The overall mic quality on here is really good. Okay. The overall Bluetooth range and strength on here is really good. Okay. The overall durability is top notch. The overall battery life and charge times on here are top notch. Okay. And this particular speaker is available for what I would consider to be a really good price. We're going to talk about that in a little bit here. So that goes over all of the positives. Now, talking about some of the negatives here. Okay. Oh, and you can also daisy chain it. So you can also connect it up to other Walmart on-brand speakers to get that true stereo effect. All right, that goes over officially all of the positives. I have a list of all the positives thrown up in post, as I always do. So please feel free to pause the video and read that list, just like I'll have a full list of the negatives thrown up in post, like I always do. All right, now let's talk about those negatives. And honestly, there are only 4 negatives that I came across in my time with this Bluetooth speaker, right? Negative number 1, okay? There is no LED readout display for the battery life. I don't like this digital battery indicator here. This tells me nothing. Now I have to memorize levels. So 2 is 50%, 3 is 75%, and 4 is 100. I would have really liked to have seen a digital percentage readout. Just like they have a digital percentage for the volume here, they could have gave me a digital percentage for the battery. Okay, so that's negative number 1. Walmart, maybe for the next iteration, y'all can put in a digital battery percentage readout to get rid of all the guesswork. Okay, negative number 2. Okay, y'all saw the ports. I'll throw up the B-roll again. In my opinion, there's only really 1 port missing. And y'all know what I'm about to say. Come on, Walmart. No USB Type-C? Come on now. Y'all know what I'm about to say. USB Type-C, all the things. Okay? You could have gotten a faster charging with USB Type-C. And if you had a USB Type-C port that allows me to walk around with just 1 cable to charge it and connect devices. Okay, so that's negative number 2. No USB Type-C port on the speaker. Even though it has all the other ports and modes, they missed out on one of the most important ones. Okay. And then lastly, negative number 4 would have to be the weight. This speaker, y'all, is heavy. Now, y'all know I have not been shy about this. I am disabled. I actually suffer from CP, which is cerebral palsy. And basically, it's a muscular disorder where the lower part of my body is weaker than the upper part of my body. So, as a result, lifting heavy things or just doing things that require balance in general are kind of hard. That's why I use crutches to walk around. Okay. So for me, this is actually extremely heavy, even though it does have that handle on the back and it does have the wheels, so I can easily wheel it around. But when I want to pick it up or I need to transport it somewhere or I want to position it in different positions, it's really noticeable for me the actual weight of the speaker. So that's actually negative number 4 is the weight. This bad boy is heavy. Okay, heavy. And I guess you can say the last negative is the information about this speaker is severely lacking, Walmart. Y'all ain't gotta hide nothing, Walmart. You ain't gotta hide nothing. There's no battery stats for this. There's no Bluetooth stats for this. There's no charging stats for this. Come on, Walmart. Those are essential. So that basically goes over the 4 major negatives, in my opinion, and maybe 1 nitpick negative. Okay? But that summarizes all the negatives. And again, I'll have a full list of the negatives thrown up in post in the video. So y'all can pause the video and read that list. Just like I have a full list of the positives thrown up in the video, feel free to pause that part of the video and read that list. And remember, guys and gals, I am not perfect and I never claim to be. So if you pick up this speaker and you experience a positive and or a negative that I forgot to mention, please leave that feedback down below in the comments. Only through leaving our feedback and our experiences can we get better overall devices and products. Okay? Okay? And please remember to be respectful, please, when you're leaving your feedback and or opinions in the comments. We're all grown-ups, and we should all be able to respectfully share our opinions and respectfully leave our feedback. Okay? But that goes over the positives, and that goes over the negatives. Now, let's get into the final part of this video. Let's talk about the overall pricing, and let's talk about the overall availability, and let me get into my overall final thoughts and make recommendations. So, in terms of pricing and availability, right? This is available from Walmart.com, or it is physically available if you go into any Walmart store in the electronics and audio section. Now, in terms of what we picked it up for, and I'll have a screenshot of the receipt thrown up in post, but we were actually able to pick up this mid-size speaker for just over $150 after tax. I think the final price came up to $154 and change after tax. Okay? But on the shelf, it's going for $150, and this is the mid-range on-brand Walmart speaker. Okay? Now, that being said, okay, can I recommend that you guys and gals go out there and pick up this speaker from your local Walmart, or that you order this speaker from Walmart.com? Well, depending on what you want out of a speaker, depending on what you need it for, I would have to say yes. Okay? I can easily recommend that you guys and gals go out there and pick up this speaker. If you're in the market for a speaker like this and you're not really trying to break the bank, honestly, I feel as though this speaker can easily punch or compete with speakers worth $50 to $100 more than what it's coming in at. So this competes with $200 speakers, $250 speakers. For its $150 price point, I feel as though that's really good. And yes, I can honestly recommend that y'all go out there and pick it up. Now, that being said, am I going to be keeping the speaker? No. No, I am not. Honestly, those negatives that I pointed out in the negative section, in particular, the weight with my disability, this speaker is just a little bit too heavy for me. And also, there's the lack of USB Type-C. So this means that I do have to walk around with an extra charging cable just in case. If I forgot to charge the speaker, I will have to walk around with the prioritized or proprietary charging cable. And I'm not a big fan of that. So at least because of those two major negatives, I will not be keeping the speaker. And the nice thing is, Walmart actually has a really good 90-day return policy. So I have up to 90 days to use the product. And if I don't like it, I can take it back and they'll give me a full refund. And I think I might have to pay a small restocking fee. I'm not sure how much the restocking fee is. But yes, I am not keeping this. I am going to take it back. So I will be getting my money back. It was just a little too heavy for me. But that being said, it did serve its purpose. And it served its purpose extremely well. Like, the party was great. The music was great. And really didn't have any issues. But for me, the lack of USB Type-C and the weight are just too big deal breakers for me. So I will not be keeping the speaker and I will be sending it back. But can I recommend that you guys and gals pick it up? If you want a really good speaker from Walmart and you feel like the negatives that I pointed out were not deal breakers, yes, I can recommend that you guys and gals go out there and pick this one up. And again, keep in line, this was the mid-range, okay? They had 2 more models above this, and that maximum model priced in at about $350 before taxes. And the models below this were a little bit smaller than this and came in at about $80 and $50 respectfully. Okay, so this is the mid-range, the $150, basically $154 after tax. Okay, that being said, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video. I hope y'all found it helpful. I hope everyone has a good evening, and I will catch you guys and gals in the next video. Have a good one, everybody. We are out of here. Now, before I get out of here, let me do some housekeeping. This whole video was recorded with a combination of the rear-facing primary cameras on the S10e and the rear-facing primary 12-megapixel camera on the Google Pixel 6a. This whole video was recorded in 1080p at 30 FPS with no external microphone hooked up. So please let me know what you think of the overall video quality, as well as what you think of the overall audio quality down below. As always, all your feedback is greatly appreciated. All right? And I will link up everything that was featured in the video down below in the video description. So as always, down below in the video description will be like a one-stop shop for you guys and gals, and you should be good to go. And it will contain, down below in the video description, affiliated buy links. And as that name implies, when you use those affiliated buy links, I do get a small percentage of kickback that I do put back into the channel so I can keep bringing you guys and gals content. But that's at no additional cost to you guys and gals. So those affiliated buy links, in my opinion, are a win-win for everyone. Okay? Housekeeping done. Once again, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope everyone found it helpful. I hope everyone's having a great evening. I hope you guys and gals are staying safe out there. And I will catch everyone in the next one. Have a good one, everyone. We are out of here. Peace.